I pay respect to the past, present, and future leaders. Welcome to the top online TV station, Disability Sausage Media, where we reduce ableism in order to include everyone in the society. A place where we enjoy life just like eating a sausage. In today's episode, we are discussing matters inclusive climate change. Wow. When you talk about this topic, I'm drawn towards the 16% of the population of the world who are persons with disabilities. According to the 2023 data, it talks of the world being more than 8 billion, and here we find that persons with disabilities make up 1.3 billion. This is a population which does not need to be ignored because it's a larger population which we need to take care of. When you talk about matters climate change and inclusivity, we are looking at the 5 barriers which persons with disabilities experience, which range from attitudinal, communication, environmental, institutional, and financial. And all these affect life for persons with disabilities in terms of the climate change action which is being implemented. Sharing the experience of a rural place in Kenya, where I come from, and being a person from an indigenous community, you find that there is a lot of issues around climate change and the way it has affected the population. One of the issues is about water access. And you find that with the lack of water, it brings a lot of challenges. It can either bring issues around war or people battling each other, battling for cattle rustlers there, or even people fighting for farm inputs, etc. And thus we know that at the end of the day, issues around climate change really affect the population. When we talk about inclusivity, we are talking about persons' abilities. How are they engaged in terms of climate change actions which is taking place? For instance, in Kenya, around even East Africa, the last 3, 4, 5 months, there was a lot of floods which were taking place. And you find that what was addressed by the most government, it was all about those people who are living in urban areas. And persons who are from the rural places, especially where I come from, who are affected, their farms were swept away, houses were affected, and many people became homeless. They were not supported by the government. So you find that some of these programs which are being developed, sometimes they are more of top to, not generally affecting the low people or the bottom people who are within the community. And when you talk about climate change and the solutions which people are being given, some of these mitigation measures are not really disability friendly. Why am I saying so? It is because access of information is not there. Persons with disabilities are not participating in terms of public forums where they are supposed to be engaged or where they are supposed to raise their issues. When we talk about mitigation or even issues around disaster, the way I've given examples of drought and etc., you find that even in other countries where we have issues around earthquake, we have issues about war, we have issues about wildfire, persons with disabilities most of the time are left behind because of the lack of the communication being delivered to them, or even lack of accessible products which can be able to provide solutions towards climate change action. I would like to cite an example of good practice whereby ICASA, which is an organization geared towards inclusive climate change, has brought women with disabilities on board to discuss how they can be engaged, how they can participate in terms of policy action, how they can discuss issues around data collection or disability disaggregated data, which can help in terms of developing or planning for programs which can become more inclusive. And that's one of the ways which can enable persons with disabilities to be engaged. But while we look at this area, we know that men with disabilities also are not really engaged very much. And discussing this issue, I would like to give examples of how green energy has not been given a chance in terms of the rural places whereby there are hot temperatures and there is sun throughout. If this was done, solar energy would have really enabled a lot of people or empowered people so that they can be able to conduct their daily businesses or even get livelihood out of such. So I believe that through this YouTube today, you've really learned about how you can be able to include persons with disabilities, the barriers they experience, and the kind of solutions which we need to do, or we need to ensure that we have those enablers which can enable them to maybe reduce attitudinal barriers in terms of discrimination, in terms of communicating, in terms of developing inclusive policies, in terms of collecting data. When projects or even when programs are being developed, we really need to have that universal design, and also ensuring persons with abilities are participating, even meeting the disability extra costs through reasonable accommodation. And on these programs, we need to also to ensure that we have that twin approach, whereby number one, we look on specific programs which can target persons with abilities, and because we know that persons with abilities have been left behind for a long time. And the second part is ensuring that we include persons with abilities in other programs so that they can be part and parcel of the society. As we end this program, I would like to remind our viewers that persons with abilities are a homogeneous group, and they do not come from another planet. They are people within ourselves, and we really need to bring them on the table, not to be on the menu in terms of matters climate change. Remember, I have been your host, Paul Mugambi. Kindly subscribe to the top online TV station, Disability Sausage Media, where we reduce ableism in order to include everyone in the society. I have been your host, Paul Mugambi. If you may like, call me Mpofu number 1. Thank you for watching.